comment. So today's topic, folks, and my guest today is Aariz Kadri, right? Who is an enterprise agile coach and a professional agile trainer. And he's worked with multiple clients within the financial space, helping enterprise, program, and team transformations. And he's worked with different agile frameworks and helped not only enterprises attain business agility, but also individuals who are part of software development teams evolve and adopt the agile mindset. And just as a side note, I always hear, people who have good, strong knowledge of agile, they always say, Dean, it's not just like some kind of a methodology or process. It's a mindset. It's a mindset, right? So that's something that really stands out to me whenever I'm speaking to experts in this space. A few more comments. We got Maguish from Toronto. Thanks for tuning in. Nandini says she's planning to give Scrum Master certification and want to become a Scrum Master from Mississauga. All right, Mississauga in the house. Thanks so much, Nandini, for tuning in. And we got Danya from Toronto as well. Thanks so much, Danya, for tuning in. So without further ado, folks, I'm going to bring in my amazing guest today. So everyone give a warm welcome to Aariz. Let him know, give him a warm welcome in the comments and make sure you make him feel welcome. Hey, Aariz, how's it going?
Oh, hey, Dean, how are you?
Good. Thanks. I was really looking forward to today's conversation.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. My pleasure. So, and for those of you who, if this is your first time tuning in, my name is Dean Kulaweera. I'm a recruiter in the tech space, and today's guest is my guest Aariz Kadri, who is an expert in the agile space, and we're going to be speaking about agile today, right? Now, for those of you, in the comments, let us know any agile questions you have. Aariz is going to be answering all the questions at some point. But before we continue, Aariz, did I miss anything regarding yourself and your background? I know you're a very dynamic guy, so can you tell the viewers more about yourself?
Thanks, appreciate it. So I think you covered pretty much everything, Dean.
Okay.
So I've been, it's been about 6-7 years now. I've been working in the space. Started my career as a BA. So for all BAs out there, transitioned into like team lead, project management, delivery manager. Moved into Agile about 6 years ago, and just hey, Irvin. So started off as a team member, moved in to the role of a Scrum Master, and then eventually sort of progressed and sort of worked as a Chief Scrum Master with multiple teams, and then coaching, training, the whole 9 yards, right? So that's the history, and so primarily I've always worked as a consultant. I'm currently also working as a consultant with a client. Unfortunately, I can't disclose who the client is, but I work with a client in the States, so that's what I'm doing. But I'm from Mississauga, so whoever that was from Mississauga, hey.
Awesome. So Mississauga is definitely in the house today, folks.
In the house, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Sounds good. So I mean, Aariz, and before we continue, Aariz, for those of you interested in learning more about Aariz and his company and his consulting firm, I believe Aariz, you said the website is www.leanagilist.com?
.net.
.net. Okay. So www.leanagilist.net. So, and I'll put that in the comments later, or I'll put it in a banner later on, as we're continuing the conversation. But now, before we get into talking about, the whole role of like Agile and also an Agile coach, for the non-IT viewers, Aariz, can you tell us what exactly does it mean when IT people say Agile? Like everyone's like Agile this, Agile that. So for the non-technical people who are curious tuning in, can you explain what is Agile?
So first of all, I mean, like you mentioned it in your introduction, Agile is a mindset, right? But it's for some reason there's a misconception that it's sort of constrained restricted just to IT. But Agile is about agility. So it's all the way from the enterprise level down to the team level, regardless whether it's IT, non-IT. You have Agile. Agility is being practiced in sales, HR, operations. Recruitment companies are using Agile. So it's a mindset. It's a way of doing things. It's basically it's a mental model that we look at transitioning from a traditional way. We call the traditional way the waterfall way.
Waterfall, right?
Yeah, to an Agile, more progressive and new sort of way of doing things, right? So that's basically the definition of Agile, right? And it is a verb, by the way. It's a verb, and
It's a verb. Okay.
yeah, we should not be looking at it as a noun. So
Right.
it's something which relates to adaptation, right? Being able
Right.
to
Okay.
adapt to new changes. So anything that you do and you're able to adapt to with the oncoming changes and with the market changes and the trends, you're agile.
Okay. Okay.
In simple words. So there's not a methodology. So people say it's a methodology. It's really not a methodology. It's just a way of doing things.
Okay.
So
Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So would you say I guess I would consider myself kind of agile because I don't do too much editing on my videos. I just do it. I put it out there, and I like, is that kind of agile or?
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it? Okay. Okay.
Because you're adapting based on as your work comes along, and you're improvising on things, and you're not spending too much time. So if I reference it to IT, you're not spending too much time writing requirements.
Okay.
All that stuff. So you're just doing things on the fly and getting things out to your clients, right? To your viewers.
Got it. Okay. I just wanted to check. All right.
You're all out.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So Aariz, I mean, what is it? So you describe yourself as a lean transformation or agile transformation expert. Like, so what is meant by like, what is that? What is lean transformation or what is agile transformation?
Sure.
Why do such projects come about?
So if you look at the last time I read, it was an article from 2019, right? 90% of Fortune 500 companies, 90% have transitioned to agile delivery. Now I'm talking software related, right? So a lot of companies now, when they're transitioning to agile delivery, they are actually they are looking at creating a certain type of framework within that enterprise or their organization for teams to follow, right? Although agile, like when we talk about agile, it's being more adaptive, but there are a lot of larger corporations, they prefer having some form of a framework, some form of a sort of a delivery mechanism or methodology that they would prefer. So a lot of the companies are transitioning to that, right? And even smaller companies like development shops and stuff like that are not Fortune 500 non-public companies. About 70% of them are actually agile now. Their methodology is agile, and the other 30% are following suit. So it has created a need for a role for agile coaches, scrum masters, transformation experts to come in and actually help not just the enterprise, but also at the team level. So you got individuals from employees all the way to the organization, the mindset of the organization, the strategy of the organization needs to sort of move towards this agility thing, right?
Right.
So therefore, the adoption and the whole the need for transformation for these companies. Because let's look at an example of banks here, right? We have banks, 150, 200-year-old banks. They've been doing things for 150 years in a certain way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you can't, it's not just a switch that you just sort of turn on and everyone's agile and everyone's thinking in a certain mindset, right? So, and therefore people like myself and other experts come in and we provide these, a transformation strategy and sort of, hold their hands and walk them through this whole transition.
Got it. Okay, got it. So, and I guess which brings me to the next question, is like in terms of what is the role of an agile coach? Like when I think of anytime I hear the term coach, like I think about the boxing movies. The boxers are in the ring. There's a coach on the side saying, "Hey, yeah, hit him with the left, hit him with the right." Like, is that kind of like what an agile coach does, or like can you tell us more about that?
Very similar, because the term coach is a coach. I mean, you don't have to be a software developer to be an agile coach. You don't need to be a tester or have those technical skills that are needed, right?
Okay.
Basically, as an agile coach, our role is actually to look at what the client wants and look at their agenda and kind of take it from a current state to an end state of what's needed to be done.
Okay.
And then we sort of, we work with everyone within the organization. Anybody who has any sort of ownership, even in a line of code, becomes part of our coaching team, right?
Right. Okay.
Right from like stakeholders, the business owners, VP level people, to team members, developers, architects, testers, QA automation people, POs, product owners, business analysts, anybody involved in the software development process is, we're the ones we sort of work with them and we help them transition to what the client wants.
Right. Okay.
So as a coach, we don't go in and sort of dictate what needs to get done. We try to understand what the needs of the organization are. Why are they transitioning to Agile? Number one, where do they want to see their teams be? Right? What are they trying to accomplish? And based on that, we create our sort of coaching plan and start working with different departments and individuals and the teams and the organization.
Okay, gotcha. So Aariz, I mean, so how does how did this role of Agile Coach come about? Like when did the organization start actually saying, okay, we really do need like an Agile Coach to help out this? Like, is there like some kind of a line that's drawn where, okay, at this point we need to have an Agile Coach or not? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Sure, yeah. So as the teams grow, okay, so as you know that we have Scrum Masters who are dedicated to specific teams. Okay,
right, yeah.
One Scrum Master per team. Sometimes you have 2-3 Scrum Masters per team. So depending on how they set it up. But as the development teams grow and as the organization requires more sort of coordination, okay, they require people like us to come in and be able to sort of coordinate between the teams, the programs, and the enterprise, because the vision comes from the enterprise, right? And it's executed by the teams. So who's going to bridge that gap, right? Number two, you come in as a third eye, right? Working within an organization, you only see the strengths. Sometimes you don't understand the weaknesses, which that's why consultants come in to actually
I see
what the problems are, what the gaps are, and we come in and sort of provide guidance on how we can sort of bridge that gap between the organization's vision and where the execution is.
Okay, got it.
And also, if certain organizations are following certain frameworks and you're an expert on that framework, so you come in and help implement that framework for them.
Gotcha. So Aariz, like in most cases, based on what you're saying, like the Agile coaches, they're usually like someone external to the organization that's brought in. Is that the case, or are there like actual internal Agile coaches as well, or?
No, there's a lot of internal Agile coaches.
Okay.
There's a lot of full-time employees who are Agile coaches. So it's a combination of external and internal, right? But then there's positives and negatives to that too.
Yeah.
Because it's always evolving, right? I mean, our goal is to sort of lead teams to a certain level of performance and maturity, right?
Yeah.
So just look at it as a basketball coach, right? Without the coach, the team's doing well with the coach. You remove the coach, the performance starts dipping.
Yeah.
Right. So you need the coach back in to motivate them and say, hey guys, this is what you need to do, and get back on track. So the full-time Agile coaches, they focus a lot on that and kind of create that consistency in the performance for the teams and for the businesses, because things happen. We sort of lose track of what we're trying to do. As an organization, and we try to go back to the old way. So all the work that you've done, moving them from the traditional way to the new way, right?
Yeah.
Now people slowly start moving back to the traditional way if that guidance is not constantly there, right? And therefore the Agile coach is always there to sort of lead and guide. And new projects keep coming up, new products keep coming up with new applications. So the Agile coaches put place on these different projects and products that are being developed by the company.
Okay, gotcha. So Aariz, you mentioned that there's obviously pluses and minuses between being like an internal Agile coach that's actually a full-time employee versus someone coming in from the outside. What's your personal take on that? Do you have a preference for one over the other? Like if it's okay for me to ask you that?
No, sure. I mean, if you look at my resume, I've always been a consultant, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I prefer, for me, as a consultant, I feel I bring more value because I go in, I do my job, I get the job done, and I move out, right? The whole idea is in Agile, especially with IT teams, is to have these teams be independent and be able to manage themselves, right? Once we get them to that level, pretty much like 90% of your job is done as a coach.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right. So that's when the full-time sort of coaches come in and kind of, maintain that consistency. So it depends what the person wants to do. You want to be a full-time coach. You want that culture and having those colleagues for lifetime colleagues you're working with. Benefits and all that kind of stuff, right? Obviously, as a consultant, you're kind of looked at as an outsider coming in, right?
Right.
Then your goal is to get the job done as soon as possible, and of course, there's monetary benefits to, being an external coach versus a full-time.
Yes.
We all know that. So it all depends on the individual and what their goal is, what they want to do, and how they want to sort of evolve, right? Myself, I get it very fast.
Okay.
So, about a year and a half into something, that's it. I need something new to do because I feel that I've kind of, accomplished what I was there to do. So I try to sort of move on.
Okay.
So there's positive.
Got it. No, I mean, I totally understand that because, at my end as a recruiter, like I've always worked on the staffing agency side because again, like if I worked at one organization, I believe I would also get kind of bored. So the agency side of things, so I totally understand that because then I'm working on different types of roles, different types of organizations.
Absolutely. So in your case, you probably have like 15 different roles from 15 different accounts, right?
Yeah, exactly.
One person at one company, and you're working on 2 roles for that specific company. And Gotcha. So it just depends on your drive and what you want to do. But a lot of companies are dynamic; they're just evolving constantly, right? There are a number of products that they're coming up with, especially in the environment. The number of projects that just keep coming. So it is exciting being a full-time person too within an organization if they keep moving you to different projects and different teams.
Right. Okay, makes sense. And for folks, for those of you watching, I do see that we have some questions and comments. So definitely keep the questions and comments coming in. We have a question here from Rizwana Narvel, who asks, how do you differentiate between change managers and agile coaches?
Oh, that's a good question. So agile coaches are in a way, they're change managers because you're managing that change, that transition, right? From traditional to progressive to new, right?
Right.
So part of your job is not just training and walking the teams to an agile way, is also managing that whole change process, right? But what I've experienced in larger organizations, especially with financial institutions and all, they have their own change departments. So we work very closely with these change departments, right? And they're constantly in the loop on what the changes are, and they work that whole the formal whatever change process that they work within their organization because they already have the process sort of inked up, and they follow that protocol that they have to do for change. But we work as a change agent. It just depends on the organization, is how much of a change agent are you going to be within that organization.
Got it. Okay. So Rizwana, thanks for your question. Hope that answers the question. I do see some other questions here. So Nandini and Sailesh, you're asking some career questions. So we're going to get into the career part of the whole conversation, Nandini and Sailesh. So I'll answer your questions. I'll have Aariz answer your questions at that point. All right. But yeah, keep the questions and comments coming in, folks, and we'll continue the discussion. So Aariz, I mean, how do you define success as an agile coach?
That's so Dean, to me, success, I'm once again, this is my perspective. Every coach has their own perspective of what is success. For me, success is sort of delivering what the client has asked me to do.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever our agenda has been with the client, if I've delivered that agenda to the client, that's success for me.
Right. Okay, makes sense. I mean, fair point, and totally agree with that as well. And as an agile coach, Aariz, like on a day-to-day basis, like what would you say are some key challenges one can face as an agile coach, and how does one navigate those challenges?
So a lot of challenges. A lot of people think that it's an easy job being a Scrum Master or an agile coach, but it's a job which requires a lot of back and forth communication with people. Especially when you're sort of trying to bring in change, implement changes, there's a lot of resistance, right? At all levels. Right now, one of the key components of Agile is decentralizing decisions. So imagine the person sitting on the top, and next thing you say, "Hey, organization is going to go agile. Let the guys on the team, let the people at the team level make the decision." Right?
Yeah.
That they that sense of losing power, control,
Yeah.
right, over your teams, over your projects and stuff. So there's a lot of resistance there within the team. Even within the team, there's a lot of resistance because they're used to doing things in a certain way, right? So every time there's change, there's a lot of resistance. So it's just maneuvering through the resistance. That's a big challenge. You need to be very diplomatic. You need to know how to handle situations. You need to be a people person in order to be a successful agile coach, right?
Okay.
In my experience, I've seen a lot of agile coaches, done a lot of courses. They become agile coaches, but they lack empathy, right? They lack that people skill.
Right.
And therefore, you can't be successful because if you don't understand people, you're not able to empathize with them, you will not be able to be successful. So I would say, having empathy, using a servant leader type of a relationship with your teams and your business owners and all, that will help you be successful, and being able to overcome the resistance, right? Very, very important. And resistance is one of the biggest challenge because not everybody's on board. The CEO would send out a memo saying, "Hey guys, from now on, we're all going to go agile. The organization is going to be agile," but not everybody's on board, right? So you go in as an agile coach, you start the process, but then you realize that 90% of the people don't even want that change, right? So that's one of the big challenge. So that's a huge challenge.
Okay, got it. So now moving on to kind of and you've already kind of mentioned some best practices. Aariz, anything you can add in terms of what are some best practices that you feel agile coaches should be practicing?
Okay. So I like to steer away from the term best practices because that makes us more traditional than waterfallish. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You remove the adaptability and being fluid out of the whole equation when
got it. Okay.
Practices. But some of the things very important are, don't try to be the boss. Once again, you walk in there, these are people you've never worked with before. You are a change agent, right? So do not go in with your own agenda, right? Go in with your client's agenda. So don't go in with your own agenda. Hey, I'm here, pull up the whip and try to start whipping people and say, we need to do this is what we need to do, and by tomorrow I want this thing done, right?
Yeah.
You will crash and burn, guaranteed, right? I've seen a lot of coaches, scrum masters get fired in the first 3-4 months because of the attitude, right?
Wow, really? Wow.
Yeah, definitely. And it's by the way, there's a lot of churn rate, right, within our agile coach and scrum master community. And
interesting. Okay.
Primarily, it's because of the attitude, right? So you can adjust it to make changes. Don't try to be the boss. Use a servant leader approach. Empathize with the people and take it slow. Right? Change is not going to happen tomorrow. So just take it slow. Introduce small things with it. Whatever changes you want to do. You have your whole agenda that you want to do, but introduce small changes. Right? That reduces the resistance. Gets people to accept what you're saying, your message that you're trying to deliver. So that's some of the things that you want to sort of be cognizant of when you're on a project as a coach and a scrum master. By the way, I do not differentiate a lot between a coach and a scrum master, right? Because we're doing the same job. The only difference is as a coach, you're just doing it at a bit different level, and a scrum master is doing more at team level. But the job is the same.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Now, in terms of from a career perspective, for those those viewers who might have an interest in becoming an agile coach, how does one become an agile coach, Aariz, and what does that career path look like? Like, what are the prerequisites? Any certifications you can recommend? Like, what does the career path look like?
So, hands-on experience is, of course, the key. And the more you experience, I mean, like you said, I'm an expert in agile. Honestly, I don't consider myself an expert in agile because every project you go to, it's just a different animal. You know what I mean? Just different things happening, different ways of doing things. So you're as a coach, you're also learning and you're adapting to these new environments that you're in. So every time you go somewhere, you're actually learning things, which is a really great thing. because you're kind of increasing your knowledge base on how things are done, right? But career-wise, I would say the first and foremost is being part of the Agile team, which pretty much everybody working in IT as a developer or a QA or an architect, anybody part of the development team and working within an Agile environment, that's the first step, because they have a base understanding of what Agile is and what are the expectations are, right?
Right.
Transitioning into this role, you might want to sort of have a mentor, right? Say, hey, I want to learn a lot. I want to learn more about Agile. Maybe your current Scrum Master on your team, you could say, hey, I want to learn a lot more from you. Make them your mentor, learn things from them. Base certifications are sort of, I would say that, it makes you an Agilist or a successful Agilist. But yeah, I mean, as a job hunter, yeah, you need a basic, at least a Scrum Master certification. Or if you're trying to be a product owner, have a product owner certification.
Right.
And because of the agility in different divisions and business units, there's certifications for everything. There's Agile for HR, by the way, Dean. That's
really? Okay.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
There's certification for Agile for HR, right?
Okay.
Agile for developers. There's Agile for architects. There's Agile for testers. So every field has a certification, right? So you may want to get that certification based on what you do, just to get a better understanding, right? And as you're part of the team and sort of your work and your role evolves, you can, things open up. You can definitely, talk to people within the organization or the hiring manager. Say, hey, I've been with the team for X amount of time. I got my certification. I know the Scrum Master role. I've been a mentee, or I've been sort of, watching the Scrum Master. And a lot of times, with Scrum, especially with Scrum development teams, right, following a methodology, the Scrum Master is not always with the team. So generally, someone within the team takes that role. So let's say, your daily stand-up meetings, right? As any team member can do that, facilitate that meeting.
Yeah.
Right? So if you volunteer and you do those things, you sort of become part of that role, right? Because you're on the responsibilities on a daily basis.
Right.
So just slowly sort of evolve in that. And once again, it's experience. Every time there's new challenges, new things. So just learn from that, learn to adapt, be very open-minded, be able to sort of, if you're trying to be a change agent, be able to change yourself first, right? And accept those changes. And I think it's just, it's a matter of time that you just get better at the role and better at understanding things, right? Because you need to understand things. If you're going to be a coach or a Scrum Master, you're going to be asked questions. Because as a Scrum Master, also you're helping teams, transition to Agile. You're helping in their performance. You're trying to sort of transition them into being, high-performing teams. So they will ask you questions. So be ready, have that knowledge base that you're able to answer those questions. So do not transition into that role if you're not going to be able to sort of, be able to lead and be able to talk to your teams about Agile. And you'll get questions left, right, and center, right? Because some people, it's just new stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the minute you're not able to answer questions, you lose credibility, right? If you don't have
that's right. Yeah.
So, strengthen your knowledge base. Watch. There's a lot of videos out there. There's a lot of frameworks that you can, and it's free, right? You go online. You could go to Save, Framework, Less, Scrum at Scale. All the information is online. So you can read up on all this stuff, increase your knowledge base, and do a certification or two, right? Just as, because I know as recruiters, that's the first thing you're going to look at is, are you certified or not? In a
Right.
That's your entry, right? That's to get your foot in the door. So do that certification and, eventually just grow into the role.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Great tips. And I also like what you mentioned before also about getting a mentor. I think that's definitely very important as well. So some great tips there from Aariz. So I do see some career related questions. So we're just going to go through some of those questions, Aariz.
Yep.
So we got Nandini says, I'm from non-IT, but I did masters in technology, entrepreneurship, and innovation in Canada. What's my opportunity once I finish my Scrum Master certification without any IT background? Any thoughts on that, Aariz?
So that's an excellent question. So a lot of people generally think that a Scrum Master role, you need to have an IT background. So the answer is no. So Nandini, you do not need an IT background to move into a Scrum Master role. Once again, Agile, it's about mindset. Scrum, it's a methodology that is being used within Agile, and it's a delivery methodology, right? So as a Scrum Master, your role is to take ownership of the process, the Scrum process. Okay, so you need to understand that process very well. Once you do your certification, you will get that knowledge of what are the different events, ceremonies, what is the process in Scrum, so on and so forth, right? So, as I mentioned earlier, find yourself a mentor or any job that you get in. I'll be very honest, it'd be very difficult for you to get into a Scrum Master position directly without the experience. So try to find those sources where you can actually go out and get some experience as a Scrum Master or shadowing the Scrum Master, and then sort of try to move into that role.
Okay, awesome. And Nandini, hope that helps. And actually, by the way, Nandini did have a follow-up question. So she asks, other than Scrum Master certification, what are the tools we have to learn? Anything you can add to that, Aariz?
Nandini, there's no tools as such. We in Agile, we're more about the people rather than the tools and the processes. So once again, if you're an introvert, try to do things that you could sort of try to be a more extrovert person, be able to communicate better. It's all about communication, right? Look at the waterfall way. Skill sets was on the top, and then came, second was communication. With the event of Agile now, communication's on the top, skill set secondary. Because skill sets now, with Agile, we believe that skill sets can be, you can learn skills, right? It can be realized. Communications cannot, right? And as part of an Agile team, you're constantly communicating. You're all because of collaboration and the different meetings and stuff that happen, right? You're constantly talking. You need to be able to talk to your product owner. You need to be able to communicate and collaborate with your team members. So first and foremost is communication, right? So, you need to sort of, improve your communication if you're sort of having any issues with communication. Try to be a bit of more of an extrovert, be able to talk to people, and that hopefully should help you.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate that, Aariz. And Nandini, hope that answers your question. Great questions. Thanks for asking. And I have another question here from Mumita. So Mumita says, is the job of Agile Coach only there until another development methodology comes in? So I guess she's at.
That's interesting. No, Agile is here to stay, guys. Okay, just to let you know. All right, and it's proven in terms of the ROI that companies have seen with Agile projects or being Agile and delivering in an Agile way. So the ROI is a proven fact. The amount of risk that companies in IT projects has reduced. The morals of team members and staff has increased. So Agile is here to stay. Once again, I'm sorry, I forgot, what was your name? It's not
Mumita. Yeah.
Yeah, Mumita. It's not a methodology. Okay, I need to stress this enough. It is a way of doing things. It's a mindset. There's different frameworks. Frameworks will come. Frameworks will go within Agile. Right? You're right. The Agile Coaches role will still be there. Frameworks come, frameworks go, but Agile's going to be there. But as an Agile Coach, you just have to constantly. You have to be reading. You have to update yourself with the new frameworks that are there. Coming in the market, and just have an understanding of what are the different frameworks and what would work best in terms of an implementation that you would have to do with a team or a client that you're working with.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Aariz. And Mumita, great question, by the way, and thanks so much for asking. Hope that helps, Mumita. We have another one here from Danya. So Danya says, I've been working as a BA in India and looking for opportunities here. Does Safe Agile certification add value to my profile? And what other certifications are required to stand out of the crowd?
Excellent question. So I myself, I'm a Safe trainer, so I'm a little bit biased here, and I've done a lot of Safe implementations and a lot of Safe trainings. So definitely the Safe certification, whichever one you do, will stand out. Once again, a lot of the Fortune 500, the large organizations, are adopting Safe as a framework. They just found that Safe helps transitioning a lot easier from their traditional way of doing things, project management, to Agile. And Safe provides that sort of that governance that large organizations, especially financial institutions, that they need to maintain, to be compliant, right, with SEC and IROC and all these other regulatory compliance bodies.
Right.
So definitely, Safe is an excellent certification to have. I think even within Safe itself, there's so many different certifications you can do. You know, you have a Scrum Master, you have Advanced Scrum Master, you have a product manager and a product owner certification. You know, you have Safe, like Scaled Agile, we call it, for business members. So depending on what you want to do, look at the website, pick a course or certification that you want to do in Safe, and definitely it will stand out on your resume. Because even regardless of what certification you do, if the organization is running Safe as their Agile framework, right? When you have a certification, it reflects that you understand Safe. So to bring you into that organization, it's a lot easier because it's easy to plug you in, because like, okay, this guy, maybe he doesn't have practical experience, but they've done the Safe course, they understand the framework. So
Right.
they're more trainable, they'll be able to adapt in the implementation and the changes that we're trying to do. So definitely a bonus.
Awesome. Sounds good, Aariz. And Danya, great question. Thanks for asking. Hope that helps. We have another from Rizwana. So Rizwana says, how do Agile coaches work seamlessly with project and program managers? Are there conflicts?
Well, yeah, that's a good one. So here's where we start talking about frameworks and how we organize the program with the with the rest with the teams, right? So once again, it's about sort of it's about organizing and having a framework where we organize the vision all the way down to the execution. So we have all levels working together. We and everybody's part of the same vision and the same delivery mechanism. And we organize as coaches. We sort of act as coordinators too and facilitators. So we organize these weekly, bi-weekly meetings with product owners at the team level, all the way up to the program level. We involve the project managers, because the project managers are they're traditional roles, right? So you can't go in and fire all project managers, right? So how do we sort of bring in these project managers and sort of transition them into Agile, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are their roles? So we work with all levels within the enterprise, and we coordinate all the work efforts that are being done, all the way from the vision down to the execution, with different business divisions, project managers, program managers, executives. So everybody becomes part of that one large sort of release that we're trying to do, right? And all the meetings and stuff involves everyone. So from the VPs to the team level team members, everybody becomes part of the same delivery platform, so to speak.
Okay, awesome. So hope that answers your question, Rizwana, and thanks for your question. We have a comment here from Valerian. Valerian, how's it going? Good to see you on here. Valerian says, decentralized platform, thumbs up, Agile worked best in pandemic. All right, okay, thanks.
Yeah, interesting. You see, it's funny because Agile has always been about co-location, right? So it's all about co-location, and teams working together, sitting in the same room, getting rid of those siloed desks and and those old style cubicles that we had, right? And having open concepts. But yeah, the pandemic has changed a lot, and now a lot of the agile work, and we're using a lot of tools now to try to maintain the same type of collaboration that we would have in a co-located environment online.
Okay.
So just different ways of doing things, and it's a learning experience for us too, because it's all new for us. Because this thing hit us like in March. Everybody, everybody went remote in March, and so as coaches, we're still learning, and it's adapting to how we can better coordinate online, and what are the resources and online tools that we could use to to get that collaboration done more seamless between the teams.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So so folks, feel free to keep asking questions. But I do have a few more questions to ask Aariz before we get into the remaining and kind of close things off. But so Aariz, I mean, what trends do you foresee in regards to agile and lean transformation projects in the short term and the long term? Like, can you share some thoughts on that?
So. Well, we currently have, and when we talk about lean, right? One of the key aspects of agility is removing waste, right? So that could come in any form. It could be, we want proper code. We need good code moving to production, right? We want to have lesser defects, right? All these things removes waste. Right. So long term, agile is, like I said, agile is here to stay. More and more organizations at the enterprise level and the team level, at the project level, are sort of transitioning to agile, right? So it's definitely a skill set that you really, or a mindset that you need to have if you want to be successful in today's software development industry.
Right.
Also, the other thing is we're moving more from project to product, right? Mm-hmm. So more and more organizations are becoming more product centric rather than project. So the investments are being done in products rather than projects, because projects, they start at the end. Then what, right? Yeah. Products are evolving constantly, right? So long term, just look at an example of any app that we use. The app is one product, but we've been using it for 10 years now. And new features and new functionalities and stuff keep getting introduced. So that the app keeps evolving over time.
Yeah.
Right. So that's there to stay, guys. Especially now with everything being digital and digital transformation being the thing now for organizations. So long term, it's a combination of digital and agility together, and that's what's going to be the market mover. In terms of development, in terms of job prospects, everything.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Aariz. So Aariz, before we start wrapping this up, and we'll get into some more questions shortly, but can you tell the viewers more about yourself in terms of how do you help agile practitioners through your company and through your training and all of that?
Sure. So through our organization, we work with multiple different certifications in different frameworks, right? So although I'm a SAFe SVP, I have affiliates who they work with PMI. PMI just aligned with DAD, right? Disciplined Agile, and so that's we have affiliates who provide DAD courses. People who are interested in those certifications. We have Scrum, Scrum at Scale. We have SAFe. We have CSM, which is by Scrum Alliance. We have PSM, which is by Scrum Org. So my company, myself personally, I'm affiliated with different organizations with different certifications and bodies, and people who provide these certifications, right? So if someone comes in and someone's interested in a specific certification, I can help guide them to the right person or the right organization who can actually provide them with that certification. Also, I'm more than happy, being an Agilist myself, to provide any sort of advice or sort of mentorship that somebody needs. More than happy. You can connect with me online or shoot me an email at consultant@leanagilist.net, and I'll be more than happy to help provide advice, or career advice, or advice on courses, or just in general. Okay? So yeah, reach out to me if anybody wants to do any Agile certification. Please do your research first. I don't like to tell people what certification they need to be doing. Do your research, do what's best for you, and if you need some advice, you need to be linked with somebody who does provide these framework certification. I'll be more than happy to do that for you.
Awesome. Amazing. Appreciate that, Aariz. And yeah, folks, I mean, definitely make sure you connect with Aariz. Very approachable. In fact, Aariz is the one who reached out to me and said he really wanted to be on this and share his knowledge and experience with everyone. So again, very approachable, very friendly. Make sure you connect with him, which gets me into Aariz. What's the best way for people to connect with you? Like, would it be through LinkedIn or any other social media channels as well?
Yeah, so it's either LinkedIn or just email.
Okay, got it. Yeah, and your email is on your profile, your LinkedIn profile, or?
No, it's on my website. So
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Let me just I'll put up your website again so that people who want to connect with you can do so. So that's Aariz's website, folks. So make sure you feel free to visit the website. Look up Aariz on LinkedIn. And feel free to connect with him. Again, very friendly, very approachable person, and clearly very, very passionate about what he does, and happy to answer any further questions you might have. So make sure you check that out. So without further, and then so I shared that, and
one last
yeah, sure.
Here is for everybody who's watching this video and who's online or even afterwards. If you're in IT and you're part of or you're looking for a job within software development, or you're currently in part of a software development team, I would very strongly advise that you have an understanding of Agile, right, for your next job. Because once again, 90% of most companies are Agile, and highlighting that experience on your resume that you're working in an Agile team will definitely give you a boost in terms of or an edge compared to other applicants, right? So if you're already part of an Agile team, I would recommend that you highlight that, right? So it's not just your skills, highlight your being part of an Agile team and the things you did being part of an Agile team.
Mm-hmm.
What were your contributions on that team? That's very important. That's what employers want to look at too. Because if they're going to be recruited in a software development team, you're going to be, you're most likely going to be part of an Agile team, and they're going to see that, okay, fine, you're a great developer, you're a great Java coder, but what have you contributed in terms of within the team? So highlight that Agile experience and stuff that you've done as part of an Agile team. So just a tip there, because I've gone through a lot of resumes. I've been part of hiring, team members. Not a decision maker in hiring, but they've always sort of brought me into interviews to kind of look at what the candidate, if they're a good match with the existing team, culture-wise, and if their knowledge of agility. So that's why I say this. So that's one part they also look at when they're hiring developers, testers, and stuff. Is would you be able to be a good fit within that team, apart from your skill sets?
Got it. Okay, great tip right there. So make sure you keep that in mind, folks. And great piece of advice there from Aariz. So Aariz, are you okay on time? Do you have time for a few more questions?
Yeah, sure.
All right, perfect. So we do have a couple more questions here. So let me just go through this. All right. So Mumita asks, how do you bring in Agile at enterprise level as they are believed to work in smaller teams?
Sorry. Okay, yeah, sorry. I think I understand the question. So, Mumita, it's Agile. When we talk about Agile, it's at all levels, right? We talk about agility. So we have enterprise level agility, we have program level agility, when we have team level agility, right? So when you talk about smaller teams, you're talking about execution level. But Agile starts from the top, right? Top-down approach. So you need agility at the top where they make the decisions, where they sit there and say, okay, in the next 2 years, this is what the market is. This is what we need to develop. This is the products we need to sort of take to market, right? And it's all about value. It's value driven. So we focus, the focus is on bringing the highest value to the market first, right? So that's where the agility starts. The first component of agility is defining what that value is with the stakeholders, with the business owners, and what value do they want to bring to the market first. Once that's determined, and that's the first part of agility, then that trickle down to the program level, and then they bring all the team members and teams and skills together on executing that vision of what of the value that needs to be brought to market. So yes, it's from the top, it's all the way down. When you talk about Scrum methodology, that's at the team level, that's not at the enterprise level. But with enterprise level, also there's a lot of agility. We use Kanban boards, Canvas boards, stuff like that in determining, market value, things that are, bring the highest ROI to the organization and stuff like that. So they have to do a lot of prioritization in terms of what they want to do as a company. So agility starts there and then sort of trickles down to the team level.
Okay, gotcha. And hope that answers your question, Mumita, and thanks for asking. We have Arvind here who's asking, what are some good resources apart from this show would you recommend to get started on the fundamentals of Agile? Any recommendations there, Aariz?
Once again, just basic understanding of Agile. There's a lot online, a lot of free resources. You do not need to enroll in a course and spend $1,000, $1,500 in a certification if you just want to understand the basics. So the resources are free, right? Look at YouTube videos. Once again, if you go to any framework, the basic framework or the basic principles of Agile are the same regardless of framework, right? So we have 12 different principles, 4 different values of Agile. All that is it's the same. So frameworks are built on this base foundation. Right? So just, read up on this stuff and get familiar with what is Agile and the different ways on why are we doing. Most important is to understand why Agile, right? Rather than what. So just understand why Agile. Why are organizations adopting Agile? Right? What is the advantages of Agile? Stuff like that. So just try do some reading, try to get an understanding of these things, and then once if these things interest you, then the next level would be to actually get into some form of certification.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And great question, by the way. So hope that answers your question. I believe it was Arvind who asked that. Now we have a great question here from Magwesh. And Magwesh says, how do you spread an agile mindset in the company across different departments? And what is your strategy to coach these non-IT stakeholders?
Yeah, that's a very good one. Yeah. So, sorry, Magwesh. So spreading the agile mindset, once again, that's the biggest resistance that we face as agile coaches, right? When we go into an organization. So our first step is to understand where they are right now. Okay. And to explain to them why, the concept, the idea of why are we trying to make these changes, right? And when we talk to especially non-IT stakeholders, we talk to them about value creation, okay? We talk about ROI, because if I'm a non-IT stakeholder, I'm a program manager, I'm running a $20 million program that I'm running, my interest would not be in, okay, what are the frameworks that we're going to adapt, right? My interest would be, okay, if you're going to do this, how is it going to benefit me, right? So we change that conversation. We set up, we talk about bringing in value. We talk about releasing value. We talk about high ROIs for business stakeholders. We talk about minimizing their waste. We talk about, releasing software in production a lot faster, quicker in iterations rather than waiting for 4 or 5 months, stuff like that, right? So that's how we work with stakeholders in changing or for them to adapt the agile mindset, right? So it's different propositions for different people, right? At the team level, it's a different proposition. So and at the business level, it's a different proposition that you have.
So awesome, great. Sorry, please go ahead.
No, it's just understanding what motivates and what's in it for them, right? The first question is, okay, fine, you want me to change? Okay, what's in it for me? Why should I do this, right? So as a coach, you have to have that strategy as, okay, what's in it for you? You can't just go there and say, okay, you know what, the CEO has said that we all need to do this transition and expect everybody to do it. It's not going to happen, right? So understanding the business models, understanding what they do first, and then coming up with these different propositions and models for at different levels within the organization.
Got it. Makes perfect sense to me. And you know what they say? Everyone's favorite radio station is WIIFM, right? What's in it for me?
What's in it for me? Exactly.
So great. Hope that helps, Magwish, and thanks for your question. We have a comment here. It's not a question, but a comment from Sandeepan. Sandeepan says, Agile is a mindset. It's not only for devs and QA, code deployment, business management. Everyone needs to be Agile. So Agile Coach should be ready to break quite a few rigid thoughts. So thanks for sharing your thoughts there, Sandeepan. Anything you want to add to that, Aariz?
No, I totally agree. And like I said earlier, right, we have to work at every level within the organization, right? So you can't just go down to the team level. Let's say it's, for example, a software development team, and just try to sort of transition them, right? Mm-hmm. You can transition them, but then if you don't have support at their level on the top, then the whole thing just crumbles and breaks, and they go back to what they were doing the old ways. So the mindset, like he mentioned, he's absolutely right, is not just for developers and QAs and all these people. It's at all levels, right? And and once again, it starts from the top. So if the folks on the top are not aligned, don't even think about trying to be an agile coach and trying to do that transition and transforming all that stuff, right? They have to be aligned, and you need their buy-in.
Right.
So it has to start on the top, and then it trickles down.
Okay, got it. Gotcha. So let's see here. So Danya says, thank you so much, Dean and Aariz. Hey, no worries, Danya. And we have a question here, and we probably have time for maybe one more question or so. But this individual asks, so what counsel do you offer to companies that want to scale back on organizational transformation during this pandemic? Why, and should they continue on this journey right now?
Excellent question. So, in fact, we've been busy, frankly. In fact, the pandemic has actually, organizations are looking at scaling up now, right? Yeah. Because of all the remote work, Agile now is the solution for them, right? So first, if they had let's say out of 100 teams, they had about 50% of the teams that were Agile. Now they want the rest of the 50% to actually be Agile too, right? Because it's just bringing a lot more value, and they're better able to organize and collaborate between the teams if they're actually using Agile as a methodology for themselves, right? Mm-hmm. So in fact, it's actually what we have seen is it's the opposite. Agile teams are scaling up. Remote work is increasing. Actually, in fact, it's a great thing because now there's a lot of offshoring. The team, companies don't care now. They'll hire people in any part of the world because of remote work. Now, how do you bring all these people together and work in a cohesive and collaborative way? Is okay. Let's have Agile coaches. Let's have Scrum masters, and let's have these people organize these teams, use the right tools, use the right ways, in actually bring these teams together. So it's actually been the opposite, to be honest. And the ones that are actually looking at scaling back, my advice to them is, so far, you've spent a lot of money in the transition and the transformation. Either you've brought in a lot of Agile coaches or consultants, or either the big four in doing the transformation for you. Just in the pandemic, why would you want to sort of lose all that investment that you've made so far, right? You want to sort of keep moving forward until you reach that optimal level that you desire as an organization, right? So, invest a little bit more money and get to that optimal level rather than lose everything that you've invested to date.
So, awesome. Okay. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. And I think that question was from Kishore. So Kishore, thanks. That was a great question. And looks like Kishore did say thank you for a great discussion. Yeah, no worries, Kishore. Glad you enjoyed it. So with that being said, folks, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. I mean, do you have time for one more question, Aariz?
Please go ahead.
Okay, excellent. So we have a question from Dina. So Dina says, hi, all. Sorry, I'm late to the party. Hey, no worries, Dina. Been busy since morning. Okay, I have one question for Aariz. I'm being positioned for BA roles on the business functional side. So how would you advise me to apply Agile concepts in my past experience after watching some YouTube, Udemy videos about Agile? Thanks.
Excellent question, Dina. So this is very close to my heart because I used to be a BA too, right? So
Right.
so Dina, what with when we transition teams to Agile, the traditional BA role no longer is relevant. Okay. Now that does not mean that the business analysts are made redundant, right? You wear the hat of a product owner. So now instead of writing business requirements and 300 pages of business requirements with multiple versions and stuff, you need to understand how to write stories. So the BAs are now wearing the PO hats, right? That's the new title for the BAs, and in Agile projects and teams. And so you need to very quickly understand how to act as a product owner, how to gather these requirements from other sort of stakeholders, how to write user stories is very important. I strongly advise if you do a course as a product owner course, which will teach you exactly how to write user stories, acceptance criteria, and all that good stuff, right? So you're just transitioning, you're changing your role, you're wearing a different hat now. You're moving from a traditional role as a BA to a PO, product owner.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of writing requirements, now you're sort of writing stories, right? And it's nothing but it's just taking those requirements and breaking them further down and making them more granular and writing stories based on acceptance criteria, right? So great question. Read up a little bit about the product owner role, and as a BA, you will transition. I can guarantee you, pretty much, if the company or your team is going to go Agile, you will be wearing a PO hat. So
got it. Okay, awesome. Thanks so much for that, Aariz and Dina. Hope that answers your question. So with that being said, folks, I'm gonna wrap this up. And Aariz, thank you so much. For your time. I think Aariz mistakenly disconnected himself there, but thanks so much for your time, Aariz, and thank you to all of you who tuned in for this segment. So really appreciate that. So if you want to connect with Aariz, again, I highly recommend you connect with him over LinkedIn, folks. And he's active on LinkedIn. You can connect with him there, and then you can connect with him on your website. I think he came back here. So
my apologies.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, that was a clear that was a perfect real life example of some Agile going on right there, folks.
Exactly.
No, I was just wrapping things up, Aariz. So thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate you.
Great questions from everyone, and please reach out if anybody has any questions or need some advice or anything of that sort. More than happy to connect.
Awesome. Sounds good, Aariz. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. And again, make sure you connect with Aariz. And hope everybody got a lot of great information out of this session. And we'll continue putting out these types of conversations out there. So thanks everyone, and thanks again, Aariz. Everyone have a great day.
Thanks, Ian. Thank you. Enjoy your day. Bye now.